great to see you. How's everyone doing? Thank you. How you doing? I'm doing great. We just had a killer show. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, you did.
Awesome show. Seriously, top to bottom. I mean, that card was unbelievable. I'm a little bit worried about Max. His neck is not in the best shape. I had to calm him down quite a bit because he was so fired up. He's very prideful, but fortunately things didn't get worse. But hopefully he'll be okay. Hopefully he'll be all right. Questions?
Tony, obviously a lot of fans wondering about all these different things that don't have anything to do with what's going on in the ring tonight. Jim Ross said this was going to be the greatest show that fans didn't expect under the circumstances. Seems like he got that. How did you feel at the end of the show, considering everything that happened going on earlier this week?
It was a great show. I was really excited. I felt like it was going to be a strong show. To me, it was the biggest week in the history of the company for in-ring and content reasons. We just did the biggest show in pro wrestling history, which I kept saying to him is something really special. He was in the main event of the biggest show in the history of pro wrestling just 1 week ago. They sold more tickets for the show last week. I'm so proud of the wrestlers and the staff and the fans and everyone in AEW because that's something nobody's ever going to be able to take away from AEW. It would be in the history books forever. And now to come here 1 week later, I knew it would be a big challenge to follow that. And there's been a lot of things happening this week in and out of the ring, but I think from a wrestling standpoint, it was exciting to be able to come here and follow it. And I was really excited. And it's, pretty telling to me personally. If you look back at this year on pay-per-view, I think Supercard of Honor was one of the best pay-per-view shows of the year. I think Revolution was one of the best shows of the year. I thought that Death Before Dishonor was one of the best shows of the year. Forbidden Door was amazing. And then All In last week, tremendous show. And now All Out, we've come in and delivered. And that's 6 pay-per-views, I would say, already this year that have all been amazing shows. So I think we're having as strong a year on pay-per-view right now as any pro wrestling company ever. And this week is as big a week as any company ever. I can say last week was one of the top AEW pay-per-views of all time. The first ever AEW All In. Not only a huge success as far as being like a box office smash hit, all time, most tickets sold for any show ever. Also one of our biggest pay-per-views ever in at least a year and a half. And that's pretty amazing. It'll be one of our top 2 or 3 shows of all time when it's all said and done. And then this week, I was going to say, after doing already one of our all-time numbers last week, to come here this week and have over 10,000 people here and have over 100,000, I would say would be a real success, and we've done that. So it's definitely over 100,000 in the wake of another show last week that did huge numbers, probably closer to 200,000. And that's pretty exciting. So this is not only our biggest week for ticket sales by many times over, but also our biggest week for pay-per-view. And so that's really exciting. It's an exciting time, and I'm really proud of the wrestlers and everyone who works here.
Hi, Adam.
Hello.
Kimmy Sokol from the Top Break. Now, you and MJF successfully defended your Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Are there any other teams in Ring of Honor that you're looking to defend them against?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I hate to give this, I don't want to say generic, maybe standard answer, but I really do mean this. I feel like a lot of people thought the team, me included, of Adam Cole and MJF, there's no way this would work. But now that it's gelled and now that I've gotten to know him as a real friend, I really think at this point we could take on any team, whether that be a team from Ring of Honor, from AEW, anyone all over the world. There's no specific team we're looking at as far as defending these titles against, but I can promise you we're not going to say no to a challenge. So literally any team from Ring of Honor, we're ready to defend these titles and prove that we're one of the best ROH World Tag Team Champions of all time. I know it just started, but I'm feeling really confident about it.
Hey Tony, Mike Schalik here from SE Scoops. Booking back-to-back pay-per-view weeks is extremely ambitious, especially when one of those is Wembley Stadium. Sounds like we're doing it again next year, back-to-back, Wembley and here in Chicago. So is there anything that you've learned kind of logistically of planning back-to-back shows? Of course, there's always going to be injuries and other reasons that things fall through, but anything just about the nature of the back-to-back rapid fire of planning shows, anything you learned you might apply next year?
Well, we've done a lot of great shows, a lot of great events. This was the first time we've done back-to-back pay-per-view weekends. I thought it was a smart move tactically because both weekends were really exciting from a live event, real estate perspective. To have Wembley Stadium on the bank holiday weekend in London, it was a really exciting destination event, and it turned out to be one of the greatest gambles ever in pro wrestling, I really believe. To have over $10 million in ticket revenue, and to have over 81,000 fans, 81,035 paid fans, pretty amazing. And it's going to go down in history as one of the greatest moves ever. And then aggressive to keep All Out here, but I really believe in what we have here. It's a great Labor Day tradition. There's a lot of people that have been going to the show every year, and I think it's something really special. So that's part of why I wanted to do it. And I think when you have shows that have this kind of rabid fan base, this kind of crowd excitement, like we had at All Out tonight, and of course like we had last week with record crowd in London, last week for All In, I think it makes sense, and people were really attracted to the shows. I also, it's funny because like I think a lot of what is online discourse nowadays, like, you know, it's very different than when I grew up, because there's a very granular week-to-week analysis of what happens in pro wrestling, like extremely granular. A lot of things are meant for building up story, and a lot of things you see in pro wrestling, at times they can be to build something for the future you wouldn't know is coming. At times they're things that are the thing that you just want to see, you've been building to, and it's the big payoff. Sometimes it's on pay-per-view, sometimes it's on TV for those big moments. Other times things are what I call maintenance in pro wrestling, things you have to do to build the stories in the show. And I really believe that the granular analysis of pro wrestling, where like every segment is taken to have to be like an instant gratification, that every second of it, you know, it's sometimes things that are leading to something for the greater purpose. And in this case, I was really excited because last week was such a success and people loved the show All In. I think it was a really well-received show, and people thought it was not only a great show in terms of making a lot of money, but it was also a great show in terms of being a great wrestling event. And this week, there were things that I had held back for this show, and I was surprised people said, well, there's not a lot on All Out compared to All In, because then just a week before there were people saying it's a scam. He's a tyrant for not putting Moxley versus Orange Cassidy in Wembley Stadium. But I really believed in the Wembley Stadium Stampede, and I thought that was great. We've got AEW Fight Forever out, and we just launched the Stadium Stampede mode, which is really exciting, and that's a great tie-in. But also it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, or is it, to be able to use Wembley Stadium like that? And for me personally, being able to have guys fight through the Royal Box, it was like, you know, having been through some great life experiences in the Royal Box involving the world of football, to go through the Royal Box fighting with Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli was pretty cool. And to open the show and close the show with great wrestling stars like Adam Cole and MJF, that was pretty cool. And I think then coming here, we've shown we can do great shows in Chicago year after year. There's a great fan base here, and the roster really delivered. And the main event I thought was great tonight. Moxley and Orange Cassidy really delivered. I thought it was a really hot opening match. Adam Cole and MJF were able to retain the championship. Adam Cole really hung in there, and there were points where he had to fight out two guys, and almost a handicap match. And MJF, what they would term the Michael Jordan flu game. I believe the flu game actually happened in Utah, though, right? It wasn't in the United Center, but nevertheless. I do think it's a good reference and very fitting, and on a night where we brought Dennis Rodman in, which also got a lot of really good attention. So I think it's really cool. It's different to do the shows back-to-back weekends, but it's not unorthodox when it's on two big holiday weekends and two destination shows. So I think we got something really cool here. Thank you.
Hey guys, Rick Ucino, SBNationCageSidesSeat.com. Adam, both you and MJF, throughout the majority of your career, I wouldn't say you guys are used to getting cheered a lot. And now the two of you together on this like extended babyface run, every single thing you guys do, whether it's something as simple as a double clothesline or Max, you know, putting his paws up to do the kangaroo kick, just gets the loudest pops of the night. Like, what is this experience, which has to be surreal for you? What has this run been like for you, this pairing with Max so far?
Yeah, so truth be told, it's been bizarre in the best way possible. I was hoping that, because even before I came to AEW, I know a lot of people have talked about the idea of Adam Cole versus MJF would be a really cool thing to see. And I was hoping people were going to be excited at the idea of us facing each other. And then obviously we're randomly thrown together as a team by chance. And never in a million years did I think everyone would not only be that excited about it, but stay that excited about it. I don't think he expected it. I didn't expect it. But the fans certainly made their voice heard when it came to that. I think maybe initially it started with the excitement aside from them being very invested, and I think both of our characters, but the idea as well of this is such an odd pairing, and who knows how genuine this is, or who knows how long it's gonna last. And then as the friendship has continued to grow, and us as a team has continued to grow, the fact that everyone's grasped on to us as a team has been absolutely unbelievable. It's the most fun I've had in my entire 15-year career, and I'm just glad the fans are having as much fun as we are, because it is an absolute blast. I'm loving it right now.
I expected it would be very, very well received. I had a very, very, very good feeling about it. And sometimes you have those good feelings and sometimes they pay off. But I do think everything he just said is completely true, that this is one of those pairings that has really been magical. And the thing that's really made it the most special is the way the fans have connected with the two of you and the way you two have connected with each other. The chemistry is real, and sometimes things backstage in pro wrestling really connect, I think, on TV, and the fact that you two really have bonded so much and become so close here in backstage, when we're backstage, I think it shows on the TV show, and it's really made for some of the most compelling TV. The connection you guys have is real, and the connection you both have with the fans is special, and it's called synergy when the pair is greater than the sum of its parts, because you're two of the top stars in wrestling, and somehow when you go out there together, it's like corporate synergy. It's worth even more, and it's freaking great. Thank you so much, Adam.
Hey, y'all, Angel inside the ropes. I wanted to ask about MJF. He's been always vocal on Twitter, but he's been a lot more taking bigger stands on Twitter in certain ways. Kind of wanted to get both of your guys' perspective on, is he kind of adopting more of a locker room leader role now that he's been the world champion for a while and kind of establishing himself as the next top star?
Oh yeah, Max is certainly a leader. Max is someone who, again, he eats, sleeps, and breathes pro wrestling, for sure. And he's been in a position where he's been with AEW from the very start. He loves AEW with his whole entire heart. And he's so proud of the product that we produce. He's very, very proud of the locker room. So generally, Max is one of those guys who kind of leads by example. He's someone that the entire locker room can look up to in a lot of ways, just based on, again, how passionate he is about the company and how passionate he is about wanting whatever he's involved in to be the best that it possibly can be. So absolutely, I think he's been an excellent leader.
Yeah. Last one for Adam.
Hi guys, Nick Hausman, House of Wrestling. Obviously it was a big weekend for AEW, a lot of news for a lot of reasons. From your perspective, Adam, what was the vibe like backstage, the attitude of the locker room going into the show without CM Punk? And Tony, just for you, what did you learn from the CM Punk experience, and what would you do differently or institute to make sure a situation like this doesn't happen again? I think there's a lot of things going on.
So as far as the vibe, the excitement these past few weeks about these events that we've had has not gone unnoticed by anybody. Again, All In happening, Wembley Stadium, 81,035 people, breaking the record highest paid attendance in pro wrestling history. Everyone was jazzed and so excited for that show. This week, coming into tonight, and knowing that we had to follow up such a huge event, the locker room was stoked. The locker room was ready to go. They were ready to put on the best show they possibly could. And most importantly, we're just so excited for the future, man. It's like AEW as a whole has made so many incredible strides in such a short time. That this company has not been around for a super, super long time. So thinking about the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, has everyone so pumped and so ready to go. So the locker room's feeling good, man. They are.
Nice. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
It says that it closes after the event in the turquoise.
Oh, you can go.
What?
You can get out of it.
Is it really?
I mean, if your car's gonna get towed, it's fine. We'll do it.
When did it end?
About 11, yeah. I just go back and ask one of the guys that's like mediating. Like,
I think we're
it's
gonna be
John.
joined by another self-proclaimed champion here.
Just got questions for Christian.
How's everybody's father feeling today?
First off, my name is Leo from Distracted by Wrestling on Instagram. Christian, congratulations to Luchasaurus for a successful title defense. The question is actually more for Tony. Tony, what would you say to the fans that feel like they were burned out after All In, the week leading up to that, and also the week leading up to All Out as well?
Well, I think we proved that we got some of the best pro wrestling in the world, and definitely can sustain doing a record-setting crowd, over 81,000 fans at All In, and then come here, and I think the energy of the roster, the staff, everybody, after traveling overseas and putting on a great Dynamite, great Rampage, and Collision, and really having some very exciting shows and a lot happening in and out of the ring. I thought everybody came in and delivered one of the best wrestling shows we've ever done. Certainly it was the biggest week in the history of the company. By far the most tickets ever sold, by far the most pay-per-views ever sold, and tremendous all-around fan feedback on both shows. All In was a great show, All Out was a great show, and now you'd have to say, coming out, a successful weekend for a lot of our top stars, including this man, who in very unconventional ways has risen, I believe, to the top of the pro wrestling profession yet again, as strong of a performance as ever, time after time after
You
time.
can go ahead and say it, Tony, this title has never meant more than it does right now at this very minute.
Thanks to the champion Luchasaurus.
There's a question over here, Christian.
Hi, my name is Devin Tingle. I'm from the Sports Cubicle. My question is actually for Tony Khan. Sorry, Christian, I do love your work. This question was for my co-host, Mike Mercado. He couldn't be here. His wife decided to break her water tonight. So
God bless her. I hope she's okay. God bless her. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, breaking water. That's scary
Send
stuff.
us updates as we go on. We'll be here for a long time, I'm sure.
Will do. But my question is for you, Tony. It's no secret your father is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there have been talks of the Jaguars wanting to leave Jacksonville. Chicago Bears have been making talks about wanting to leave Chicago.
Wait, there's been talk of what?
Oh yeah, the Chicago Bears are
What
considering
was the thing you said before that?
about your father owning the Jaguars, and there's been rumors that the Jaguars want to move.
There's no rumor. I don't think that's a valid thing. We've just redeveloped. In fact, we just built the Miller Electric Center, which is, I will say this, and I will give you this. I think going into last year, the Jaguars' facilities were not near the top of the NFL. We went from probably not having an elite athletic performance facility in Jacksonville, and now we do. We have the Miller Electric Center. It's awesome. We have new practice facility, coaches' offices, scouting offices, everything. And it's amazing. It's over $100 million in the new facility, and it's really great. I'm very proud of what we've got there. So no, that's not the case at all.
Okay,
and in Jacksonville, a lot of the great wrestlers are often at the games. A lot of the top pro wrestlers in the world, a lot of the great champions, including this man, reside in Florida and come to the games. So it's a big deal, and we've got something really fun going on in Jacksonville. And if you follow football closely, you know that Jacksonville last year in our home games, we had the best run of home comebacks ever. You couldn't have booked it any better, the Jaguars season last year. Time after time after time, the Jags dug themselves out of holes, whether it was against Baltimore Ravens, Dallas Cowboys, Tennessee Titans, and against the Chargers in the playoffs. Went down 27-0, came back and won one of the all-time greatest football games of all time. And it was one of the great seasons in the history of the Jaguars. So there was a lot of great stuff happening in Jacksonville, Florida with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sorry about believing the rumors.
Okay, thanks.
Then we got the for Christian.
Hi Tony, hi Christian, Meridian Fierro from Fightful. Christian, your pairing with Luchasaurus has been a fun one. How has it been working with Luchasaurus, and have you enjoyed your time as champion or co-champion, as you could say?
Well, I think tonight proved the point when I said that the match was going to be a massacre, that it wasn't even going to be close. And I do believe that Luchasaurus proved that we are dominant as the TNT champion. He's a great pupil. He's a great disciple. And I wouldn't said, I wouldn't be where I am without him.
For Christian?
Yes, actually. Nick Hausman, House of Wrestling. Congratulations on retaining the TNT Championship tonight. A lot of rumors abound about a good friend of yours, Adam Copeland, and his future in professional wrestling. I was just wondering if you see him possibly joining you here in the All Elite mix.
I only talk about myself and Luchasaurus. And I have no friends other than Luchasaurus. I'll leave it at that.
We talked a lot about the boy, talked a lot about Darby Allin
They're not
and Nick
my
Wayne.
They're not my friends, they're my problem.
Hey Christian, Rick Uccino, SB Nation Case Seeds. I want to go back to something you said a few minutes ago where you spoke about that TNT title never being more relevant than it is right now. You have seemed to have made this a really personal mission of yours to make that championship the most prestigious thing in all of AEW and all professional wrestling. Why is this so important to you?
I like gold. I think gold defines a person, defines a man, especially in this sport. And I think that no matter what title I hold, it immediately becomes the most prestigious title. In fact, we may end up calling this the TNT World Championship by the time I'm done with it.
Last question for Christian. Anybody? Here we go. Question for Christian?
Christian, so you just spoke and said you possibly want to turn that into the TNT World Championship by your end by the time frame. But is there any other goal that you have your sights on?
Of course, I'm always looking to add to my collection. I'm an avid watch collector. I only collect the most expensive timepieces. I only collect the most important and beautiful title belts.
I think Christian Cage is doing some of the best wrestling, some of the best work of his entire career. We're very grateful to have him in AEW. Thank you for joining us tonight for AEW All Out, and you're a big part of AEW All In and AEW All Out. One of the biggest weeks ever in pro wrestling, certainly the biggest week ever in AEW's history. When you arrived in AEW, I said, this is going to be a huge signing in 2021. Ended up being a big year, a transformational year for AEW, and your arrival was a huge part of that. So thank you very much for joining us.
Weren't people, maybe, might have even been some of you people, that said that I wasn't worth the hype? I think I proved you all wrong now, didn't I? I know I proved Tony Khan right, because he just re-signed me to a big fat contract. He opened the vault for me, and I deserve every single penny that I got.
Yeah. Self-proclaimed TNT champion.
Yeah.
We're done?
I'm sorry, I can't do that. Where'd he go? Maybe the guy's over there. Maybe ask that guy that's sitting down over there.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Charge your batteries.
We'll just be, once I'm going to be joined by a few more of our top stars here. I really appreciate everybody being here. It's, like I said, it's been a crazy week for us.